Hi guys and welcome to the trading show. This week we are gonna talk about
markets. Bitcoin keeps rising. Our portfolio. Good week for currencies. Tip of the week. Euro-dollar intraday bias. And the weekly rollovers.
And if you are interested in systematic trading, then subscribe to our channel. I am Francesco Placci, Head of R&D at Unger Academy. Let's start from the market overview to see together what happened during the week. The stock markets rise again this week, in particular the European markets. Here we have the EurOsd 50, which grows by 7.25%. The mini S&P is positive too, while the Nasdaq remains a little behind, but you know, the American stock exchanges had risen a lot the previous week. The most interesting performance, however, is that of Bitcoin. Look at this strong directional bullish trend developed over the last month when Bitcoin future managed to exit from this trading range. It broke all the highs and is now trying to get close to the all-time highs. On the currency front, however, not much has happened. Let's take a look at the EURFX future, which has been in this trading range for several months. As regards cereals, a fairly positive week with some mixed signs. Soft commodities are positive, meats too. Metals, on the other hand, are slightly negative, and as regards energy, we only see positive returns. On the volatility front, however, compared to the last week, there is not much to report. We see here the historical volatility of the Nasdaq, which remains quite high. Obviously, with such violent swings, it is normal to see the standard deviation with values above its average. And in particular on European stock exchanges, which experienced very violent movements during the week. If we take a look at the implied volatility instead, the picture changes because the American elections have passed, uncertainty is disappearing, a Biden victory is now quite evident, so we know that markets do not like uncertainty, and the fact that this problem of the US elections has been solved, as you can see, is bringing the volatility index curve back into contango. I remind everyone that contango is the state in which short-term volatility is the lowest, and as we move towards future maturities, we see an increasing value of volatility. In a certain sense, it is the natural state of the markets that occurs for about 80% of the time when there are no particular troubles on the markets. After seeing some key statistics on financial markets, and given the fact that automated traders also use this data to build their trading strategies, as usual, we will now take a look at our portfolio of trading strategies to see how systems have reacted to current market conditions.
Welcome everyone from Alessandro Danos to this new appointment with the analysis of our portfolio. This week, I must say finally, I can show you some currencies markets. In particular, we will analyze the Australian dollar future and the Japanese yen future. Please regard that these are the futures of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and not the OTC over-the-counter market. Let's start from this system on the Australian dollar future, and we can see that the last week the strategy took this beautiful trade long, and at the moment is in a short position. We are using this system with two contracts, and we can see that from August 2019 the strategy has performed really well. Also, the average trade has reached very high levels, 6.5 Here we have set 2 contracts, but also with 1 contract is good enough, 325. And also looking at the equities, short and long, we can see that both sides are performing well. Managing to exploit this period of laterality, the strategy is a reversal strategy, and so it reached new peaks. Okay, now let's go on the next system. There is this one on the Japanese yen future, and we can see that this week the strategy took this nice short, managing to exploit the volatility generated by the news on the vaccine for the COVID-19. In particular, this news was of the Pfizer that said he was nearly to reach a new vaccine for the COVID-19. So this news generated a very volatile day session on not only on the Japanese yen, but of course also on many other markets. Like the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq or the gold and many others. Looking at the strategy performance report, we can see that the strategy took a new fresh equity high, thanks to this, of course, beautiful trade that was the short of around 2100s. And then also the strategy took other 2 trades, 1 long and 1 short that is open now, but they are smaller than the previous one. Now we can move to see the periodical monthly analysis, and we can see that finally the volatility has returned to this market. Unfortunately, the system managed to reach a remarkable profit in this month. Well guys, now we can move to see the Titan. There is, for which of you that doesn't know, is the software that we use to filter our strategy monthly. And this week I want to show you the currencies sector. In this basket there are some forex cross, like the Euro FX, the British Pound, the Japanese Yen, and also other minor crosses. We have set an initial capital of $50,000 with a daily risk of 2% and a maximum drawdown of 10%. This 10% regards the max drawdown acceptable of the strategy. So in this case we will accept just the strategy with a drawdown of less $5,000, which is the 10% of the initial capital. Running the backtest, we can go and see the performance summary. This sector managed to reach a good profit of $9,000 with a maximum historical drawdown of around $8,000. So we can be, of course, happy. Also looking at the equity curve monthly, we can see that initially this sector started the year flat. Then from February to July was managed to reach good profits. Then a drawdown in summer, and now a sort of recover.
Hi everyone, and welcome from Andrea Unger. Today we will see a particular behavior of the EurFX future. EurFX future is the future on EurUsd currency pair, and it's listed on the CME group. And then when we will talk about the hours of the day of this behavior, we will reference to the Chicago time, so UTC minus 6, GMT minus 6 hours. Having said that, the EurFX futures has a multiplier, a monetary multiplier of $125,000 per point, and the tick value is equal to $6.25. And the tick size has been splitted a few years ago, and before it was $12.5, and the actual tick size is quite nice because allows the systematic trader to find some good strategies even if the average trade is not particularly high, and this is of course also because the EurFX future is a very liquid contract in general, so it's not necessary to find an extremely high average trade to cover the impact of the slippage and the commission. But what we talk about today is the intraday bias on the EurFX future, and more in the details, it seems that EurFX during the session has two different behaviors. The first one is a short trend behavior that goes from 1 a.m. approximately until 10 a.m. And during this phase, the market seems on average to go down, and after 10 a.m. until about 3 p.m. the market seems to invert and to start a long trend. So this long trend lasts until 1 hour before the closing time of this market, so the closing time of the session on this future, that is at 4 p.m. At Chicago time. So this is the equity curve of this very basic model, and as you can see, it seems to be extremely consistent all over the years, and it seems that just all the years are positive, and this is of course nice. But we can also notice that in this first phase the equity was more steeped, and most of the gains were concentrated in the first part of the equity curve, while the last part is more flat, if we can say so. So it seems that this bias is not so effective anymore. But in any case, this bias is extremely good both on the long side and on the short side, so you can try to work on this kind of approach, of course, but you have to be aware that the initial average trade is not brilliant. In fact, is approximately $32.50. That means about 5 to 6 ticks on average. So of course you should work on this basic idea, and you should implement your own strategy with a higher average trade, because even if it's not required to be extremely high to trade with a profit this product, that is EurFX, in this case I think it's quite poor and quite low, so it should be more filtered and improved, of course. And from the annual period analysis, we can have a sort of confirm about what we have seen previously from the equity curve detailed. And in fact, here it seems that most of the profits were made in the first years of the historical data we have considered. So from, I would say, from 2006 to approximately 2012. And in the last part, so in the very recent years, this strategy was not so brilliant, but as said, you should try anyway to implement your own version that may correct this, those very latest years.
Let's take a look at the rollover calendar. Next week there will be the settlement date for the VIX future on November 18th. And after that we have to roll over crude oil future. Just yesterday I rolled over coffee future, although as you can see the expiration is far ahead because the liquidity is already on March contract. Finally, the following week there will be the settlement date for natural gas, heating oil and gasoline. Well guys, so if you want to learn how to build trading systems like Andrea Unger, the only 4-time trading world champion with real money, Go ahead and click on the link below. You will be able to pick a date and a time for a 45-minute call totally free with one of our tutors. We will talk about your current situation, what you are doing in trading and what you would like to do instead. And we will try to understand together if we can help you achieve your trading goals. Finally, if you like this video, press like and then subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. See you next week with another episode of the Trading Show.